Mahatma Gandhi led India to its freedom in 1947. He was an activist for nonviolent protesting and went to the extremes to get his point across. During a time of racial segregation, Gandhi stood up for himself and others. He encouraged people to look past the boundaries of race and belong as one race, the human race. Gandhi was an influential leader. However, Gandhi's understanding of culture was not his greatest asset as a leader. Today I'm going to summarize the video, explain to you what culture is and how it relates to leadership. I am also going to talk about why Gandhi's understanding of culture was not his greatest asset, and then describe what asset was. The video we watched this week, Mahatma Gandhi, Pilgrim of Peace, was essentially a biography of Gandhi's life. It featured people such as his grandson, who brought a very personal touch to his biography. The video started by discussing Gandhi's early life and his family. It talked about his experience in law school and how he wasn't confident enough to make a career out of law. After being personally mistreated on a train by South Africans and seeing the effects of war, Gandhi knew he had to make a change. This is when he started promoting nonviolence and peaceful resistance. The video then goes into detail about the Salt March and its significance to India. Thousands were imprisoned during this event, including Gandhi. Many more were injured, yet the Indians stayed peaceful. It explained how Gandhi was a man of discipline and lived below his means. He traveled third class and stayed with the poor while he was in England. He spun his own cloth instead of buying it from others. The video continues to explain that after India was free from England, the Hindu and Muslims started to separate. They started a civil war and broke Gandhi's heart. He went on a hunger strike and brought the two religions back together. Lastly, the video explains Gandhi's death by assassination. His death attracted 1 million people to Delhi to pay their respects. The debate statement I am refuting today is Gandhi's understanding of culture was his greatest asset as a leader. In other words, I don't think that Gandhi's understanding of culture was his greatest asset as a leader. To start, I am going to explain to you what culture is and how it relates to leadership so we can get a better understanding of what the debate statement really means. According to Northouse, the term culture is an abstract term and is thus hard to define. However, the book defines culture as the learned behaviors, values, beliefs, rules, norms, symbols, and traditions that are common to a group of people. Northouse also explains that culture has 9 dimensions. These dimensions are uncertainty avoidance, power distanced, institutional collectivism, in-group collectivism, gender egalitarianism, assertiveness, future orientation, performance orientation, and humane orientation. Countries are then grouped into clusters based on their similarities and differences within these dimensions. These clusters then each represent a culture. So how does this all relate to leadership? Well, each culture views leadership in a different way. The Globe researchers identified 6 global leadership behaviors. These leadership behaviors are charismatic or value-based leadership, team-oriented leadership, participative leadership, humane-oriented leadership, autonomous leadership, and self-protective leadership. A leader likely reaches out to more than one culture, so it is important to understand how these cultures perceive leadership, not only so a leader does not offend them, but also so they can be a better leader to them. I am now going to explain why I don't agree with the debate statement. When I hear that Gandhi had an understanding of culture, I perceive that as meaning he understood all cultures and their cultural differences. He understood that not all cultures are the same, and he was able to adapt his leadership style to fit those cultural differences. Because he was a servant leader, Gandhi was focused on the greater good. This means he wanted what was good for all cultures. During the video, I noticed many times that Gandhi either had little knowledge about other cultures or denounced their importance. The first was when he traveled to London for law school. He didn't understand the English culture. He was confused by elevators and was overall naive. Secondly, if Gandhi knew that South Africans held prejudices against Indians, he probably wouldn't have rode first class on the train. The third time I noticed Gandhi's lack of cultural understanding was when he went to London to discuss the future of India. He went to the royal palace for afternoon tea wearing improper clothing. While the king was not upset, many people were disgusted that Gandhi would present himself in such a way to the king. If Gandhi had wanted to make a proper impression, he would have fit the traditional dress of the English. I would agree that as Gandhi grew older, his knowledge of culture grew. One of his famous quotes, "No culture can live if it attempts to be exclusive," even proves that Gandhi had an understanding of culture and understood the importance of cross-cultural experiences. So while the examples I give don't paint a full picture of Gandhi's understanding of culture, they do explain why Gandhi's greatest asset as a leader is bravery. Bravery is a trait envied by many, but embodied by few. However, Gandhi was one of the few. Whether or not he had cultural understanding isn't what I want to focus on. Rather, I want to focus on how he used bravery to inform others about the culture of India. I think we can all agree that most people during the time didn't understand the Indian culture. That's why South Africans and the British held prejudices against them and passed laws that made it impossible for India's culture to survive. However, the video showed many times where Gandhi used bravery to break those prejudices. So instead of looking at the examples I stated above through the eye of cultural understanding, I looked at them in a different way. Gandhi showed bravery by going to London to reach his dream of studying law, even though he wasn't familiar with the English culture. He was brave enough to take the train not once, but many times, only to get thrown off time after time. He was brave enough to start rallies and nonviolent protests, even when he knew he or other people could get hurt or even spend time in jail. He had the guts to appear in front of the king wearing a loincloth because it was part of his own cultural dress. His bravery inspired others and changed the way that India was treated. Gandhi did all of these things because he was brave enough to save India's culture. He took leadership when nobody else was up to the task. Being brave isn't easy, but Gandhi did it many times. And this is why I think that Gandhi's greatest asset as a leader is bravery. Now that you know why I think Gandhi's greatest asset as a leader is bravery, I encourage you to look for more examples and post them to the discussion board. Thank you.